Welcome back to Marvelous Anime. Today, we're diving into 10 classic sci-fantasy anime from the 80s and 90s. These shows combine magic and technology in adventure worlds. Whether it's the giant robots or the mystical kingdoms, these tales have become a special part of anime history. We're excited to dive in and discuss the legends that prepared the groundwork for everything that followed, so let's get into it. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, 1984. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind came out in 1984. In the story, 1,000 years ago, the 7 days of fire wiped out civilization. The world now has a toxic jungle full of giant insects. This jungle is spreading and killing people with poisonous spores. The Valley of the Wind is a small kingdom surviving at its edge, and Nausicaa is its princess. She uses a glider to navigate the jungle, and she examines its flora and fauna. She can even talk to the insects. Her people believe in a prophecy. A savior in blue will come from a golden field. A Tolmekian warship crashes in the valley. It carries a giant warrior embryo. This bioweapon caused the ancient war. Nausicaa saves a Pajit pilot before he dies, and he begs her to destroy the embryo. Tolmekian troops arrive. They killed her father. Princess Kushana leads them. She wants to use the embryo to burn the jungle, but Nausicaa fights back. Her teacher, Yupa, stops the clash. Nausicaa learns the jungle is cleaning the poisoned earth. Plants grow clean underground. The Omu, giant trilobite-like insects, protect the forest. When attacked, they rage and stampede. Nausicaa calms them with a bull roar. She sees the truth that humans are the destroyers and the jungle is the cure. She crashes into the jungle with Kushana and meets Asbel, the Pajit pilot's brother. They find the clean world below, and they return to find Pajit destroyed. Survivors use a baby Omu to lure the herd. The Tolmekians fight the swarm, and the giant warrior hatches, but fails. Nausicaa frees the baby Omu, but the herd tramples her. They end up reviving her with golden tentacles, and she walks above them like the prophecy said. She saved the valley, and the jungle's purpose is clear. It heals the world. Aura Battler Dunbine, 1983. Aura Battler Dunbine was directed by Yoshiyuki Tomino. It mixes fantasy and mecha in a way that was new for the time. The show follows Shozama, a motocross rider from Japan. He's taken into another world known as Byston Well during a crash. The setting resembles medieval Europe, which includes dragons, knights, and castles. Byston Well operates using life energy called aura. This power fuels insect-like robots called aura battlers. Only people with a strong aura can pilot them, so Sho becomes one of those pilots under the role of Lord Drake Luft, who uses humans from Earth as soldiers. Sho fights for him at first, but learns about Drake's real plans using aura battlers to rule both worlds. As war spreads, Sho joins others who oppose Drake. Among them is Marvel Frozen, another person from Earth. She helps Sho see how aura power is twisted by greed. The battles grow until they start to affect Earth itself. The line between the human world and Byston Well begins to break. Aura Battler Dunbine stands out because it combines two genres of fantasy and mecha. It shows knights and monsters fighting alongside living machines powered by the human spirit. The story questions where power belongs and what happens when humans lose control of it. The mix of ideas made it one of the first mecha isekai series ever made. Angel's Egg, 1985. Angel's Egg takes place in a strange and ancient world. There are trees, a shore, ruins, and a mysterious mechanical sun. The story follows two characters without names. One is a young girl who scavenges a ruined city. She protects a large egg that she believes will hatch an angel. The other is a young man carrying a big cross. He arrives in a tank. The girl meets the boy, and he asks about the egg. He wants to break it open. She's horrified and runs away, but she lets him follow her. They bond briefly, and the boy talks about a different version of Noah's Ark. He wonders if the dove really existed. The girl insists it did and shows him a fossil of an angel. The boy later breaks the girl's egg while she sleeps. She chases after him and falls into the water, and her last breath turns into many eggs on the water's surface. The boy finds the girl, now a stone statue on a throne. She sits among other statues under the mechanical sun. In the end, the world is revealed to be on a giant overturned ship's hull. The film is full of symbols and mystery. It leaves much open to interpretation, and the story moves slowly as it's more about feeling than clear answers. Royal Space Force, The Wings of Oniamasu, 1987. Shirotsug Ladat lives in the kingdom of Oniamasu. This is on an alternate Earth. He once wanted to be a fighter pilot, but he joins the Royal Space Force. It's his nation's new space program, but it has many failures. After an astronaut dies in training, Ladat meets Rikini Nondaraiko. She's a religious woman who preaches on the streets. She lives with a quiet child named Mana. Rikini sees the importance of the space program and encourages Ladat to volunteer for the first astronaut mission. As he trains, Ladot grows up. He and his team face technical problems. They also deal with doubt and public pressure. The government is corrupt, Rikini struggles, her house gets foreclosed on. She and Mana move into a church shelter. She gives Ladot a holy book. It says humans are cursed for stealing the fire of knowledge. General Kaiden leads the Space Force. He lies and says that they're building a space warship to get support. The chief engineer dies in an accident and people protest. They say the project is a waste of money and is making poverty worse. Ladot feels lost. He runs away for a while, but one night he almost attacks Rikini. He stops just in time and asks for forgiveness, but she denies it and leaves. Back in the city, Ladot survives an attempt on his life. The launch site is in a demilitarized zone, and the government hopes the launch will cause war. The Republic attacks, and Ladot is already in the capsule. He convinces the crew to launch, but the launch stops the fight. In orbit, Ladot prays for forgiveness. On Earth, Kini sees the first snowfall. Magic Knight Rayearth, 1994. Magic Knight Rayearth follows three girls who are in 8th grade, Karu, Umi, and Fu. They're pulled into the magical world of Sephiroth while on a school trip to the Tokyo Tower. This world depends on the willpower of the Pillar, its ruler. Princess Emerald, the current Pillar, has been kidnapped by the High Priest Zagato. The girls become the Magic Knights. They discover their element-based magic powers. They also awaken giant robots called Rune Gods, which they must pilot. On their quest, they learn how to work as a team and become friends. They fight Zagato and his forces, and after defeating him, they find Princess Emerald. They learn she loved Zagato, which distracted her from her duties. She trapped herself and called the Magic Knights to kill her, as no one else could. The girls reluctantly have to kill Emerald to save Sephiroth. They then return to Tokyo. A year later, the girls find Sephiroth again. The Pillar system is broken. Sephiroth faces danger from three warring planets, Autozam, Faerun, and Chizetta. The girls get to know that the Pillar system puts a heavy burden on one individual. They decide the planet's fate shouldn't rest on one person. Hikaru becomes the new Pillar, but rejects the system. The series ends with the three working to build a better future for Sephiroth and its neighbors. Magic Knight Rayearth combines magic, giant robots, and the idea of responsibility. It helps shape later isekai anime, and the story focuses on growth and sacrifice as the girls save a world and face its burdens. The Vision of Escaflowne, 1996. The Vision of Escaflowne is a 1996 anime set in an alternate world called Gaia. Gaia was created from the combined wishes of the people of Atlantis as it sank into the ocean. Earth is visible from Gaia as the mystic moon. The world of Gaia shares Earth's size, seasons, atmosphere, and climate. The story's narrative follows a high school girl called Hitomi Kenzaki who was carried off to Gaia after meeting Van, a young prince. Hitomi has suppressed psychic powers that become stronger on Gaia. She quickly gets involved in a war between the Zybok Empire, led by Emperor Isaac Dornkirk, and the peaceful neighboring countries. Zybok seeks to awaken an ancient power from Atlantis to dominate Gaia. Hitomi's visions and growing abilities help guide Van, who pilots Escaflowne. It's a mystical mech known as a Gaimalef. Van is linked to Escaflowne through a blood pact, which also ties his fate to the mech's condition. Characters reveal complicated pasts and motivations as the series unfolds. The history of Atlantis and the true nature of Gaia come to light. The topics of fate, divination, and the conflict between destiny and free will are discussed by the tarot readings of Hitomi. Love, relationships, and sacrifice are some of the central points in the conflict and character development. The show challenges the power and the price of attempting to regulate the future. Space Adventure Cobra, 1982. Space Adventure Cobra opens with bounty hunter Jane Flowers killing a strange creature. She takes its head as a trophy. In a bar, Cobra, a famous space pirate, spots Jane and follows her. Jane doubts it's really Cobra because everyone thought he had died 2 years ago. Cobra is known for his psycho gun, weapon in his left arm. Cobra visits Jane's home and the creature's head attacks. Jane kills it again and suspects the Pirate Guild, criminal gang who wants her dead. She had left the creature's head with a bounty hunter group for protection. Guild sends a death squad after Jane and Cobra. Cobra reveals his psycho gun to stop them. The news reaches Crystal Bowie, Cobra's enemy. Jane admits she had been searching for Cobra's help. Cobra, Jane, and Lady Armoroid, Cobra's android partner, travel to Sido. Jane's sister Catherine is imprisoned on this planet. Jane says Catherine was framed by the Guild and asks Cobra to free her. Cobra fights on his own and defeats many enemies but is captured. Bowie freezes him. Jane is tricked by Catherine, who falls for Bowie. She kills Jane. Cobra survives the freezing cold, however. He escapes and carries Jane's body. Lady Armoroid rescues him as Bowie attacks. Professor Toporo, Jane's mentor from her home planet, Myris, asks Cobra to find Jane's other sister, Dominique, and the Snow Gorillas. Dominique says the Pirate Guild wants to control Myris, a man-made star. The Guild plans to destroy the 7th galaxy with it. Cobra confronts Bowie on Myris, and he kills Bowie and frees Catherine's mind. Catherine sacrifices herself to stop Myris. She steers it into the nearest sun. Cobra leaves, alone, drifting through space. Lensman, 1984. Lensman tells the story of Kimball Kim Kinnison. He's a farm boy living on the peaceful planet McCue. His life changes when a spaceship crashes near his farm. Kim jumps on board to help, but inside he finds a dying lensman from the Galactic Patrol. The lens is an artifact that grants special powers. It also carries vital information about the enemy. Before the lensman dies, he transfers the lens to Kim. This should have been impossible, but it happens. The lens instantly gives Kim enhanced mental and telepathic abilities. It also reveals the location of the Devil Planet, home of the Boscone Empire. The Boscone are enemies of the Galactic Patrol and want to control the galaxy. Kim learns he must deliver the lens to the Galactic Fleet. The villain, Lord Helmuth from Boscone, wants to stop him. Kim is joined by friends: Van, a near-human with horns and a beard; Clarissa, a nurse and a technician; and Wurzel, a flying green dragon lensman. Kim and his crew encounter numerous threats on their way to the fleet. The movie revolves around learning about his new abilities and putting them to use in rescuing the galaxy. It's a standard sci-fi anime inspired by the Lensman novels of E.E. Smith. Dragon's Heaven, 1988 OVA. Dragon's Heaven is a 1988 science fiction OVA. It takes place in the year 3195 during a war between humans and robots. Cheyenne is a sentient combat armor, basically a giant robot with artificial intelligence. He loses his human operator in battle and shuts down. He remains inactive for nearly 1,000 years. A young woman named Ikaru reactivates Cheyenne when she stumbles upon his buried remains. Cheyenne wakes in a world very different from the one he knew. The Earth has suffered great destruction and is locked in conflict. Cheyenne discovers that the Brazilian Empire is at war with the walled city called Keltria. Ikaru rides on an animal and travels with Cheyenne. She protects Keltria from bandits and enemy forces. Ikaru understands Cheyenne's systems because her father was a machinist. They join Keltria's mercenary forces to fight back. Cheyenne's old enemy, Elmadine, commands the Imperial Brazilian Army. Elmadine is a high-level machine life form, awakens other robot warriors to intensify the war. Cheyenne and Ikaru prepare for battle against him. They struggle to protect the city and its citizens. Dragon Heaven has exclusive mecha designs that were inspired by the artist Mobius. It's a tale of faithfulness, endurance, and the connection between a man and a robot in a post-apocalyptic world. Neon Genesis Evangelion, 1995. Neon Genesis Evangelion takes place in 2015, 15 years after a planetary catastrophe known as the Second Impact. This was a disaster that swept away half the human race. This is the tale of Shinji Ikari. He's a teenager summoned to the futuristic city of Tokyo 3 by his estranged father, Gendo Ikari. Gendo is the leader of a paramilitary group known as NERV. Shinji comes at a time when giant creatures known as angels are attacking the city. These angels have strong force fields known as AT fields that make them nearly invincible. NERV's only defense is giant biomechanical robots called Evangelions. These mechas sync to their pilots' nervous systems. They have force fields too. Only Evangelions can fight the angels. Misato Katsuragi, NERV officer, guides Shinji into the NERV base. Gendo pushes Shinji to be the pilot of Evangelion Unit 1. Shinji, however, has no training. He struggles to control it. Unit 1 is heavily damaged. Shinji feels intense pain from sinking with, loses consciousness. Unit 1 ends up going berserk and killing the angel without him. Afterward, Shinji stays with Misato and trains. He battles more angels and rescues Tokyo 3. Shinji struggles with his loneliness and sometimes wishes to escape, but Misato persuades him to take his position as a pilot. He encounters other pilots such as Rei Ayanami and Asuka Langley Soryu. They all confront the rest of the angels, and the show depicts how Shinji grows and fights. It revolves around action and character drama, and honestly, this one holds up today. Marvelous Verdict. That's a wrap on today's video covering 10 sci-fantasy anime classics that define the Spell-and-Starsteel worlds of the 80s and 90s. These anime showed how fantasy and sci-fi can mix with unforgettable stories and visuals. They set the stage for modern anime. Which classic impacted you the most? Or is there another hidden gem from that era you love? Let us know in the comments down below. Please keep sharing your passion for anime with us. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Otherwise, stay marvelous and stay curious.